Morning, and it's Lilia from Heal Scotland with Alexandra Duran. Am I saying it properly?
Yes.
And Alexandra is coming to join us as one of the guest presenters at the Goddess Gathering in Dundee, entering the field of inner knowing. So thank you so much for coming to the gathering, but also for coming on this live. How are you?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I feel very honored to be here. And I'm a bit nervous, but I'm good. I'm excited at the same time. Yeah, trusting in the flow.
You have, like most women, I would think, have quite the story that you've traveled as a woman, but also you're a medical intuitive, an energy healer. Sorry, this Facebook, for some reason I'm having an intervention there. An energy healer. And so tell me all about that journey. Let's start with what you're going to be doing at the actual gathering.
Yes. So what I'm going to be doing at the actual gathering is something that I'm very passionate about, and it's how it starts my journey back in my 30s, when I started learning about reflexology, aromatherapy. Reiki came into my life, as well as many of us. I was listening to some of the videos before, and the connection I started making between our bodies and how we're feeling and how we're developing this illness and pains became very clear from very early on when I started doing massage. And being an intuitive as I am, I think I started picking up on the energy of the people as I was touching them, as I was talking to them, how literally the body was speaking at me. Like I could pick up on things like they just had an argument with somebody, and I was massaging, I could just sense the argument just still there. So I was just, it was quite incredible. So that came in very quickly. And at the beginning, I was probably not trusting as much as I do now, but I was asking the question, have you had an argument with somebody? How do you know that? I just felt it, I just felt that. Let's just soften that, what's coming up. So, so the journey started really there when, before that I was in hospitality, but my mom was very into all sorts of these things. She was very intuitive herself. She was also into Reiki. And that connection with my mother created a really beautiful link between us, and later in time. So when I started developing all these beautiful skills, my mom and I actually connected really, really well with time. So she did pass with cancer 5 years ago, but I think, again, it comes back to understanding the body and why she developed that in the first place.
Yes.
She did struggle, but she was adopted, and she didn't know her rooted family. So she came with limping, I call it. So no treat support of family. So that developed into a stream of all sorts of pains in the body, and the sadness that she felt from the biological mom developed a cancer in the lungs, which I then was born with an umbilical cord around my neck that I most recently had to cut all that pain and suffering from ancestral. Anyway, it's fascinating work. I love the fact that we are also a big individual part, but also full of individual parts. So we're of whole, but individual parts within us. So I tend to talk to my kidneys, to my heart, to my liver, because each has a complete different personality of its own. So I found that really interesting that, for instance, yesterday I had somebody who had been constipated for some time. So I could pick up on their feet, the column was there. So he had been given soft what do you call it, what the doctors give, the soft stomas. I can't say the name in English now.
Stoma.
No, they give they tell them to take more fiber, more exercise. They even offer them antidepressants, and all that. So that didn't help. But we were tapping in a connection with his higher self and the column, and he realized that he had an argument with his boss, and he was stuck at work. He hated his job. So he was holding on, constipated. So in the ability to let go, the column said, "Can you just relax?"
Wow.
He was being about it.
Well, I mean, I think we all know if you're nervous, you can feel it in your digestive system. We can even dissolve the contents of our bowel with fear. The effect that the mind is having on the internal organs, if you really think about it, most of us know that, but we're not really thinking about it when it comes to disease, because it's like, well, there's the symptom. We either cut it out, we burn it, or we poison it, or we give it meds, whatever it is. It's instead of going, well, why is that there? What is the body trying to communicate? And and that's, I think, when it can get tricky for people, because none of this stuff is available on the NHS, really. When you get diagnosed, you have to, there's the amount of information. That's obviously what Heal Scotland are trying to do. The amount of information that you can get via nutrition, via emotional PTSD, all the traumas that we've all had if you live to a certain age on this planet. So I think it's really key to get this information and understanding out to people, that what can be wrong with the organ is emotional.
Yeah, and feeling the feelings, which is probably the hardest part, because we tend to repress. We live in society that by design, we've been told to behave, to conform, to be that way. And then we take all this information, and now we're now I feel at 50, I feel like I'm experiencing childhood, even from a complete different perspective. It's free to be me. It's free to say how I feel. It's free. It's good to say that I'm nervous in this moment, because it's authentic.
Yeah.
But I have experiences in myself with health. So I developed an allergy a while ago, eating prawns. So I remember this scene. I was in a conversation with a relationship I had, and this man broke up with me. I was sitting a lobster, and I felt that lobster literally going with the emotion I was feeling in that moment. I left it at that. I thought, well, none of it. 10 years after, I was in another relationship. I was eating that, and I developed an allergy. I swelled up, and I thought, wow, what's this all about? So for some time, I didn't eat. I thought, well, I'm allergic to prawns. That's it. That's it. So I did my kinesiology training, and we did one session literally on remembering what was the first time you had a prawn or a lobster, and what was the emotion behind it. It was a breakup. So in one session, I thought we were working on the liver point, remembering and going through that experience. Then I left that. I didn't think it was, didn't think any of it. And then went for a meal with my mom and dad. And I ordered in Spain a massive plate of prawn soup, not knowing consciously there was a prawn soup. Seriously, I really thought I was ordering something else. My mom said nothing. And within hours, she said, you just ate a prawn soup and you're fine. It's like, oh, yeah, that's it. Gone, disappears. So that was it. My allergy was gone. Completely.
Yeah. And again, I think, there's so many people got allergies now for all different kinds of reasons. And it's not always emotional, but, it can be. And I think that's so. So your actual business is Maya Therapies.
Maya Therapies, yeah.
Are you in your treatment room right now?
Yes, I am. I've got clients.
Lovely. So how does it work? Because you've got, like so many people now, you've got so many different skills. Who comes to you? Who?
Mainly women. I do see men as well, but mainly women over a certain age, probably my age. I do see younger women as well, but 50s and 40s, 50s and 60s. And women that are going through maybe change in their life, perimenopause, like myself, and going through the menopause. I do a lot of reflexology. I actually love feet, believe it or not. I think that feet are incredible. I see so much through it. I also do facial reflexology, which is absolutely beautiful. And I just facilitate. I'm moving away from the word heal. And the reason I say that is because when we witness somebody, or we witness an organ, we will witness that in itself creates a ripple effect, and they are being seen, heard, and understood. And that's what people want, really, at the end of the day. Just being heard, seen, and understood. And somebody be there, yeah, it was hard, it was difficult. And I'm sorry that was difficult, but we're here now.
Yes.
To create a new story. And that's the beautiful part of it, that we can change that at any given moment.
Mhm.
In fact, even this year, I developed a frozen shoulder, and immediately I realized I'm being clicked. I realized I was almost in that blame thinking somebody's doing it. I'm thinking, no, it's me.
But don't you think that's the actual trickiest part? Because, it's the victim, and I mean, obviously, I still fall into that as well. I'm absolutely not. But trying to move from the victim to the master,
Yes.
is the trickiest part, and it's I always often think it's a timing thing as well. You almost need to get fed up listening to yourself saying the same story and blaming, shaming, complaining, till you eventually you're like that. Well, this isn't working.
Yeah.
What else can I do?
Exactly, exactly. And it's very exhausting. I mean, when you listen to the brain, I've been reading this book called The Heart's Code. I don't know if you heard about it.
Yes, I've read it.
Fascinating, because I
Uh-huh.
think the head has run the kind of show for so long that it gets exhausted. You wake up thinking and saying the same things. And at the part is like the heart, we're so disconnected that really when we pay attention to our hearts, our bodies, it's like let the heart a little bit of space.
Mhm.
The head is always the patriarchal, that you must do. Are you busy? What are you achieving? You can't do that. But the heart wants to be nourished.
Yes.
Stop. And that kind of combination, and we're so by design, the society that we're in, by move, do.
Mhm.
And when we're not doing that, what are you doing? You're not of value. And
Yeah.
I found that very hard, living even for our youngsters. But yeah, I found that the brain is constant. I mean, I've had these thoughts constantly about, oh, what am I doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, I've created such a beautiful community now where I am. I just love Scotland. I fell in love with Scotland. It took me a little while at the beginning, but
Uh-huh.
I love it. I love the land. I love the people. And I think I've had many lives here in the past, for sure, 100%, many, many lives.
Uh-huh. But don't you think it's funny that some people just think the organ pumps the blood round the body? It's sort of like, how could we ever think the heart was simply that?
No.
And it's such a magnificent magnetic,
Yeah.
transmitter and transceiver of information. And I certainly know I was completely shut off. I had no idea that I was getting such valuable information because I was too busy up here in the monkey mind. And
Yeah.
also I think, you know, that voice in your head, I always talk about when I started really doing cold water regularly, the voice would just say, no, you're not doing it. It's too wet, it's too dark, it's too windy, it's too something, and then but you start to recognize it and you realize, no, I'm overriding that program, that, these excuses and these reasons, and I'm going to, and that's the whole thing, it's the same. We've got a fasting
Oh, yeah.
challenge going on this month, and we're in the middle of a 3-day water fast right now. Not everybody's doing it, but try it.
Yes.
So what if you fail? Then try it again, because we know, we have the science to show that the more you try, the more you're likely to succeed. And
Exactly.
then the empowerment you get of actually achieving something
Exactly.
is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think, the doctor that I'm training with in Canada, she said, you're not treating your clients, you're training them. And I thought, that's it, because yes, we can assist, and obviously we can provide a lovely treatment that's going to make somebody feel better, but then they go back into their lives.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way to help them to, maintain their own body and their own sanity,
Yes.
given all the craziness.
Yeah. I
And
think. Yeah.
sorry, carry on.
No, I think that what you're doing is absolutely fabulous, because the training, it takes persistence, it takes commitment,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of courage and bravery, really, because to show up for yourself.
Yes.
I'm here for me, regardless.
Yeah.
You know, and even these things, I always say, for me, I was terrified of speaking in public. So I'm showing up for me because this is who I am now, and I love it that I can push the boundary even more and more. But the training part, I remember I went to Bob Proctor. I actually met the guy in Germany, and he often talks about we need to do things repetitive
Mhm.
over for at least 69.
Absolutely. That's how you learn anything.
That's how you learn anything. Otherwise, we just going to go back to our habits and our old things. And it's easy to say, oh, I just can't drink too much water. It's just too, too hard to, and yeah, there are things that are hard. I get it. But, if you want health, put yourself first, always.
Yeah.
And women were so bad at that. We put everyone else.
Well, I was going to say to you, are you actually based in Dundee? Do you live in Dundee?
Yeah, I live in Broughty Ferry.
Broughty Ferry, it's lovely there. My brother used to live out at Carnoustie.
Yes.
So you run women's circles there as well, don't you?
I run women's circles in the YMCA once a month, and I run it on different topics. Last was about the womb, the connection of the womb, the uterus, and the heart.
Yes.
And it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So women really are powerhouses. I feel so much compassion. Don't get me wrong, I love men too, but I just work with women mainly. So there's always women there putting themselves in workshops, activities, circles.
Absolutely.
But we need our men. We do need our men, and perhaps men are maybe losing a little bit the sense of what their role is, because the consciousness is really rising at the moment. So
well, we got quite a lot of men at our festivals, so I'm hoping that'll improve with each year, because I think the festivals are a nice way to come and try and hear, listen to people, educate yourself on what's available apart from pills and surgery, so that you can really, if and when you get some kind of diagnosis, you've got a clue about other things that you can do, which I think is really, really important. But also the entering the field of inner knowing, this goddess gathering tour that we've been on is very special, because there's so many brilliant workshops right now, cold water, breath work, there's just hundreds of them, and I just didn't want to do the same thing again. So I wanted it to be a journey that really went into the subconscious and really started really connecting into that inner field and letting go, obviously, of the stuff that can hold you back and any limitations. So it's just been a phenomenal success so far. So we're super, super excited, because obviously we've not done one for a couple of months now, but we're all just totally buzzed up for getting to Dundee.
Yeah, I'm very excited you're coming to Dundee. I'm really excited because I feel Scotland and Dundee needs it so much, need that energy of now. Sometimes during the COVID periods, feels like people are a little bit in gloom, and we need that energy to put at Dundee. I'm very up for this. And and coming back to, I think, again, come back to the witness part. Honestly, if you have time at home to just witness that part of your body. I was, again, talking to my kidneys the other day because I was feeling a bit sore, and I know the kidneys hold so much of our battery power, our connecting to the ancestors. And when we hold space and put it like a friend of yours right there, you're my friend. You're doing so much for me. How can I help you? What do you need from me?
Yes.
And that is recognizing that are not just machines or things. They are consciousness. They are really individuals that need to be seen and addressed. When you have a pain, ask, what is it that you want from this pain? And being in that, and just trusting what you get. I really think that the trusting is the part that we're working on. In the trusting, the intuition, the intuitive, as wacky as it sounds. Like, I give you an example. I was working on a client the other day online from the Philippines, and she was a not vegetarian. She wanted to become vegan, so her molars were playing up a lot. So I tune into her molars, and this is going to sound very wacky, right? But I'm going to say it. They took me, the vision I got, they took me back to a man who was the literally caveman, who ate meat, so the memory of the molars came to the life, thinking, how dare you going to eat vegetables with no meat? We're going to die here. That's pretty much I got, literally. And I was laughing. I said, how am I going to say this? Seriously. So she said, yeah. So we kind of gave permission to the molars to say, this is a different life.
Okay.
Now. And it completely cleared. It just, it's just incredible. We're tapping into Akashic records, past life, future lives, all sorts. And I think the that part is just fascinating. Yeah.
I know, and I think if you kind of understand that continuum, the space-time quantum, and then it's not as confusing. But
Yeah.
if you don't understand that, it's a bit like, what the hell?
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah,
Exactly.
because it's so much information, that comes in different ways, and also just not really resisting it or questioning it, just allow it to be there. Joe Dispenza talks, how he healed his own back, and they told him a whole load of horrible things would happen to him too, and he just held his focus and attention there, which is really what you're talking about. It's just hold it, but most of us won't hold it enough because we've got this to do, that to do. We're so busy
Yeah.
that we're away here, there, and everywhere, and we're not actually giving the body the attention and the time. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many things could be healed in a much more gentle way if we understood.
Absolutely, 100%. And as you said, when you stop the busyness and using the language, I also like the language of the metaphor. I've been working with a beautiful teacher from the root cause practice, and we talked a lot about the language of the metaphor. So how do you talk to yourself? I often think, oh, I hate my stomach. I hate my.
Yeah.
And I've realized that even I've done it myself. I actually ended up losing weight. Oh yeah, by good nutrition, but also appreciating my body in the now, because it does so much for you.
I know.
It really does. And I really think this is our temple, and it's the connection to divinity. I really do think so. In fact, we always looking somewhere else, but it's always here. It's always been here.
I totally agree. And you'll see my opening presentation at the Goddess Gathering. I was trying to give people a visual of that to understand that interconnectedness and the sacred nature of the body and the heart.
Yeah.
So, listen, you have also been, author or co-author of 2 books. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that?
So the first book it's called Gather the Women. So it was beautiful Lynette Allen who had done cacao ceremony online, where we worked on the girl we used to be, the women that we are now, and the women yet to become. So it was 22 days working on these 3 aspects. And it was such a beautiful process, really, really empowering, but very you take into very vulnerable places, but also very empowering places. So because of that process, she put 35 women together to create the Women Together around cacao. So since then, I've been using also cacao in my circles. But that book is available on Amazon, and it tells the stories of those 3 aspects: the girl we used to be, and we remember we've gone to those places, how we were. We discovered that little girl again, and then the now girl, and the future part is quite interesting, because when you go to the future, the possibilities in the quantum, I saw that woman so clearly coming into me, and it's all there. So I'm always trusting that this moment right now is divinely put right, because it's just meant to be.
Yeah.
And the second book is Women's Voice is a Revolution. So that is the powerhouse of a book, is women from 50 to 80 years old, giving jewels of wisdom. So writing to a younger 22, to a younger 15, what you wish you had before. You wish you could know, like you open a random page and you say it from the heart.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So messages, I'll bring some for the gathering, so they'll be available, and it goes to a beautiful charity in Bali where they rescue kids and moms from the street, from abusers and from traffickers, really. So it's a really good cause.
Yes, fantastic.
So,
And would you mind just talking us through, because I know as a woman, you've had, challenges, let's say, for want of a better way to put it. And I think the reality is now, I obviously talk to so many young women with children. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and all our children have got issues and anxiety and oh, yeah, and I think that's just so common. So can you talk a little bit about how you've coped and how you've dealt with the challenges that you've had?
well, I'm not going to lie, it was very difficult. So I have 2 children. I have Luca, who is 15, and Mia, who was born at 27 weeks, very premature, with Down syndrome. So we spent 5 months in the hospital with her, and it was very, very challenging. She could have died twice, and having lost a baby before, I knew that could have happened.
Yeah.
But in that process, my mom was then alive. We gave her a lot of healing. We gave her a lot of support in that moment. And also realized that life is really it's so vulnerable that we're not making today the best day of your life. We never know we're going to be here tomorrow. So I often said to her in that moment, because my daughter almost died, it was once, and I said, if you want to leave, I'll let you go. But also, if you want to stay, I'll fight for you. So she fought so hard to be here. And despite all the challenges that we had at the start, I think I was mentioning to you before, the prognosis of her having asthma and lung disease was high, as the doctor said. So I started on a nutritional protocol, working with a naturopath from the States who had experience with children with Down syndrome. And she has thrived, really. She's thriven. I mean, the things that I've been seeing in her development and her health, I mean, even at some point a doctor said, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So she was discharged after 3 years, pretty much a lot of stuff. And yes, the first probably, 3 years were the hardest in the winters. It was, but I recommend that you reach out for help. That's something I have done most recently. I think is very important because we women tend to say, we do it ourselves. I can do this. Reach out. Please reach out. I had to do this week for my daughter at school because I need more support. I need more systems in place. And I have resources. I have back flower remedies. I do tapping, but sometimes you want somebody else to take the load for you. And it's so important.
And people want to help, if they're in a position to, you need to just tell them what it is that you need.
Yeah.
Sophie Savage, who wrote, she's passed on now, but she wrote The Cancer Whisperer, and she was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, and she was given a few months to live. She ended up living about 4 or 5 years. But she wrote an email to all her inner circle and said, don't say this, but do fill my food freezer with good food. Take me out for a coffee and a massage. These are the things that I need. And we need money because obviously very often when you get sick like that and you can't work, finances become very stressful. So as soon as she put out exactly, she was a life coach, so she was very, very good at communicating. But I thought, God, that's such an obvious thing to do, especially around a diagnosis as scary as that, where people probably avoid you because they just simply don't know what to say or do. And inevitably trying to say the right thing can say the wrong thing,
Yeah, but I think it's same breath as I'd rather people ask when I had my daughter in the hospital or when people often see her, I'd rather people ask me a question.
Yeah.
Because it's normal, curiosity, or even kids, when people say don't stare, let them stare, it's normal that they stare. It's what the kids do. So ask the questions, and I appreciate that I can give them a response. But ask for help and get as much, as you said, support system in place, because we do need a community. And since I don't have any family here, it's been difficult, tricky at times. So I have had friends definitely become family now. And I mean, I'm not saying it's not had its challenges, but I think I've also realized that because I was the one who said I can do it all. Then I just burn my, I just burn out. So no, please do ask for help, reach out. And also there's always other ways. My son developed psoriasis in a period where I was highly stressful in my marriage. And I knew it was very emotional for him because kids pick up a lot from the parents. So I talked to him. We did muscle testing. I picked some essential oils. We did some tapping. And eventually kids are very receptive, very, very quick.
Absolutely.
So quick that I was realized the more also I worked on myself. So we put him on gluten-free diet as well. It's gone, completely cleared. Psoriasis was gone. So I do believe that the combination nutrition, emotional, stuff and all that, it's a must. And also understanding the kids are only there, just you're only projecting, and they're feeling everything from the parents. Not
Yeah.
to blame yourself, because life is tough, but just recognizing that. I said to my son, I'm having a bad time today. I'm not going to be a strong parent.
Yeah.
I'm just figuring it out as you are.
Yeah, but I think as well, it's good for your kids to see you angry, sad. That's the human condition. It's you
Yeah,
can't hide everything from them. It's actually being honest about and teaching them how to navigate the emotional roller coaster that life inevitably is.
yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. He's seen me angry, cried, and I think anger is a powerhouse. I think I often do that in my circles. I get women to breathe and shout, because we're so conditioned to be rigid, to don't bother, or to embarrass is the word I hear a lot. And then let's get that out of the system, because the frustrations are there. We want to, and in this premenopause, I feel the rage coming in. We need to
Uh-huh.
allow the rage to be seen. It has,
Mhm.
and when it's well channeled, it has a purpose.
Mhm.
So I do believe that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Well,
yeah,
listen, I am so looking forward to seeing you a week on Saturday.
yeah.
I might get in touch actually because we're coming up. We've got an Airbnb, so we're coming up on the Friday to get you round for a biofeedback.
Oh
Uh,
yes, please. I'm looking forward to that.
yes,
Yes.
so you'll get to see all my fancy dancy gadgets.
And you know what? It will be interesting also for me, because I muscle test. Obviously, the machine does it very quickly, and this is a question maybe ask as well. So I had a conversation with an acupuncturist about the biofeedback, and she loved it. But I also think, how I do everything with my hands. So the
Uh-huh.
Chinese test the pulses, what
Yes, yeah.
muscle test for nutrition, and I trust everything. So I have muscle test a lot of things for me, and I'm going to see if I can compare it to
Yes.
what the machine has, and see how accurate that is,
Mhm.
because both are as good. I think, yeah, very
Well, I
important.
mean, I think the great thing about the machine is it can really see stuff that we can't see or we don't understand. Because I think now with so many autoimmune issues and so much stress in people's lives, it's difficult to know what's wrong. You think all your symptoms are different, but they're actually all coming from the same thing. And then, but it's still going ahead. You can treat with the Quest 9, but there's obviously quite a cost to that. Like for 12 sessions, it's £1,200. So I understand that not everybody can afford that. But you can also just use it as an introductory, exploratory session, and then you go away and make the necessary steps that you need to make in order to rebalance or harmonize.
Mhm.
So and because it is biofeedback, it's your body saying this is there's no human in between that's maybe trying to influence it. So
See, okay.
yeah. Anyway,
Perfect.
I'll tell you all about it when I see you. So listen, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And yeah, please, anybody listening to this that lives in Dundee, please share the words about the Goddess Gathering. I'm sure, like me, you're intrigued to get into that beautiful little treatment room at some point.
Yes, a lady coming for facial reflexology at 12, so yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Awesome. Right. Well, listen, lovely to see you, and I can't wait to see you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thanks, Lilia. Me too. Thank you
Bye
so much.
now.
Bye.
Bye.